Good evening, everybody. Please grab a seat. We'll get this meeting started. Welcome to the November 13th, 2023 regular meeting of the City of Coolidge City Council. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Norma, would you call the roll, please?
Councilmember Tom Bagnell.
Present.
Councilmember Audrey Saavedra.
Present.
Thank you. Councilmember Steve Hudson.
Here.
Mayor John Thompson.
Here.
Vice Mayor Jackie Henry.
Here.
Councilmember Tatiana Murrieta, and she is out ill. And Councilmember Eric Daniels.
Here.
Mayor, we have a quorum.
Thank you, Norma. Okay, the first item on the agenda is the call of the public. The call of the public here. If you want to speak to address the council, you have up to 3 minutes. If you haven't filled the form out, please do so already. If you have filled one out, Norma will call out your name and have you come up, hopefully in the order that you filled them out. So when you approach the podium over there, please state your name and your address, and then you have up to 3 minutes to state what you want to address the council about. We can't answer a lot of the things that you may or may not want to discuss tonight. We have to have it agendized to discuss most of it. So let's get started. Norma?
Mayor, right now we have 4 that have submitted form to speak, and it's in reference to item number 7. So I don't have any under call to the public at this time.
Okay, then in that case, if there's nothing other than item 7 that they don't want to talk about, we'll wait to get to item 7. And that's all there is on that. Okay, then we'll move on. Move out of call of the public and move into approval of minutes for item 3 and 4, City Council regular meeting, October 9th, 2023, and City Council regular meeting, October 23rd, 2023. Are there any corrections, comments, additions, subtractions from the minutes?
No, sir.
If none,
No.
then I would entertain a motion to act.
Mayor, move to approve the minutes of October 9th and 23.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. Okay, we'll move into public hearings. First public hearing is item 5. To receive public comments on a proposed major general plan amendment changing 330 acres of land within the Brighton Village PAD from urban neighborhood 325 acres and rural ranchette 5 acres to 260 acres of industrial manufacturing, 65 acres to business and commerce, and 5 acres to urban neighborhood, is located generally southwest of the intersection of Windsor Road and Highway 87, Arizona Boulevard. Parcels is 40121 016F, 015E, 068F, 069B, 068E, 068G, and 401-22004K. Okay, this is a public hearing. Mr. Lopez, I guess you're up first.
Mayor Thompson, Vice Mayor Henry, council members, we have 3 in a row of the general plan amendments. We do these generally once a year, and in November of 22, you adopted a schedule for us to go through. So a lot of these applicants all started submitting July 12th of 24, and they've gone through a process where we send out notices to the surrounding communities. The Planning and Zoning Commission had a hearing on these also, October 9th. It was October 9th, right? And so right now we're here. I was looking at the future one. So anyway, the Planning and Zoning Commission heard these and are forwarding them to you. And so this is the public hearing for these three items. No action will be taken on these tonight. They'll be at the 27th. Well, they'll be on the agenda for an actual resolution if you so choose to pass these. So I just wanted to give you a little information on how this process works. So these are major general plan amendments where they require to come before a public hearing because they're changing the uses on the property. So this one, of course, we start with Hilgard Wilson has applied on behalf of Cardin Hyatt Investments, Cardin Bowen Investments, LeSueur Investments, and Anderson Capital Partners. And as the mayor said in the opening statement, they're changing some of the property, and we have it here so you can see it from quite a bit of property here that it's pretty large. We're changing from ag and urban neighborhood to manufacturing industrial, which is, something that we need. It's catty corner to actual steel, the actual some of the industrial stuff over on Randolph. So it's right on the corner over here. Let's see. Actually, this one. So this shows you what it was before, that it's ag, and then we have urban neighborhood. And what we're doing is asking you to consider and have public hearing on industrial manufacturing and some general business. And then this little piece here is going to urban neighborhood from rural ranchette. And this is all part of the Brighton PAD. And so it's pretty large. It's about 1,400 acres, but these are only a portion of it. They're coming before you. I believe they're coming back with some other changes a little later. And so we have representatives from the applicants here if you want to hear from them. But this is a public hearing to consider these changes to this property. It's about 330 acres total. Okay. And I'll answer any questions you may have at this time.
Anybody have any questions for Mr. Lopez?
No. Nope.
Okay. All right. Does the applicant have anything they want to say?
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of the council. My name is Joseph Vance. I'm with Hilgard Wilson. We represent the property owner, and I'm here to answer any questions you may have. We're really excited to get this project going, and yeah, here to answer any questions.
Okay, we just wanted to get a look at you. Anybody have any questions? If this goes through, how soon are you looking at doing something?
To be determined. It's all going to depend on the market.
Okay, well, then nobody knows anything. Okay. Thank you.
Already get it going.
Thanks, Joe.
It's on the mark.
Thank you.
You bet. Okay, if nobody else has any questions regarding that particular item, we'll move out of that public hearing and we'll move into another public hearing on 6, to receive public comments on proposed major general plan amendment changing existing rural ranchettes to industrial manufacturing on approximately 937.6 acres located within an area bound by Hannah Road to the north, Fast Track Road to the east, Shed Road to the south, and Vale Road to the west, also located within portions of Township 7, Range 8 of Sections 14 and 23. APN numbers 40148 022 Frank 022 George 022H 022J 022K 037 Bob 401 52 0010 002B 002C 002 Dog 0030 004 Dog 004G 004H, 004K, 004L, 004M, 004N, 004P, 005B, 005C, 005E, 008C, 008D, 009A, 009B, and 0100, and 01010. Mr. Lopez.
Mayor Thompson, Vice Mayor Henry, council members, this is directly east of IPAS, the Inland Port, Arizona, where we have Nicola and Procter & Gamble down in the southern part of the properties down here. And what we propose is there's some land that we've talked to a lot of the people that own the land, and they're interested in actually maybe doing manufacturing industrial because of what's happening in iPads. They bought it as investment property, and nobody out there, I've asked them if they're interested in building houses. They said no, there's no water out there. State land follows that. So what we're proposing from the city standpoint is to have this change from rural ranchette to industrial manufacturing. So in the future, we can expand iPads to the east, or it may be just a different industrial manufacturing. It may not be iPads, but we have a lot of inquiries with this property here, what's happening, and so we want to make sure we have enough land in the future. There's some projects that actually need to be further away than a mile from the railroad because of vibrations. So this would help us if everything goes the way it's planned and needs to come in and we change everything and rezone it. That would be a good place for those type of companies to come that can't be that close to the railroad because iPads is only like a little less than a mile wide and the railroad's right there. So anyway, we'll answer any questions you may have. We have had some comments on some property here, the general plan. We do overlap in certain places with Casa Grande, Eloy, Mayflower. We don't plan to go, at this point, we stopped at the canal, and we don't plan to go south, but it's still there. We thought we had, at some point, that we had actually gone down with a general plan to here. We're still looking for the documentation case. But, general plans overlap, and it doesn't affect anything as far as, we stopped at the canal. We're not going south of that at this point, so and we don't plan to. Eloy is coming up to here. And we did notify our neighbors to the south, as we did with all those cities, that we're doing this. So you're aware of that. And I'll answer any questions you may have.
Gilbert, have you heard anything from any of the other jurisdictions?
No, Mayor.
Not on that one?
From other jurisdictions? Yeah, no, other than Eloy. Yeah, no, Mayor.
Okay. All right. Is there anybody up here? Do you have any questions? Any members of the council? No, sir. All right. This is a public hearing. Is anybody, did anybody put in, Norma, on this? Oh, so he didn't fill out a form?
I signed something back here, but I thought it was like.
No. You gotta fill out, you gotta go by our rules. This is in Eloy. No, go ahead, Mayor.
Obviously, things are different here in Coolidge, and I apologize. I did sign a form back here. Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council, and staff, and everybody in attendance. I wish my audience was like this. I come before you with love and prayers, my friend. We do have, as the city of Eloy, my name is Micah Powell. Do I have to address my address and all? 394, is it no go? Okay, good.
No,
Yeah, I'll just give you John's address. But we do have some concerns about this council. The direction that we observed on paper was the plan is to go past the canal. In our general plan, we go up to the canal, and Coolidge goes north of the canal. You guys annexed the canal in a past meeting. We're okay with that. But moving forward, we would ask that you guys de-annex the south of the canal, allow us to continue with the borders of the canal being north Coolidge, south Eloy. We do support everything that you guys are doing in Coolidge. I've been very vocal about this. I just want us to continue being good neighbors. In the past, there's been the overlapping and the lack of communication. But I wanted to come before you. I dipped out of my council meeting because I think it's very important that we communicate with you guys and just not be angry at each other, but just come to say, look, we understand why you guys are doing this. 100%, I get it. We just have issues going south of the canal. If we can move forward and allow you guys to, or you guys, as I said, stay north of it. We'll stay south. We'll continue to support what you guys are planning on doing in the future. I think we've worked well together when the road expansions on Hannah Hauser, Shed Road is going to be expanded in the future. All that is going to benefit both of us. You guys, us, with the jobs, our schools. But it's very important that we continue to respect our general plan and our boundaries. We went to planning and zoning the last meeting. I had my staff, another council member, voice some concerns. It did pass 7-0 to go ahead and move forward with you guys. We did voice some issues that we had. Some of the commissioners on planning and zoning didn't know where it was going on. We provided maps and information. We just want to put on record our feelings and hope that we can continue working well with each other, with the city of Coolidge and the city of Eloy. John has reminded me several times that Coolidge Bears beat my Dust Devils a couple times, and I appreciate that. Thank you for the reminder, because I am getting older. I seem to forget things. But we have a great working relationship. I talked to him today for a while and expressed my concerns, and I appreciate you taking your time out to do it. Mayor, sorry. But it's very important that we work well with each other. I have a city manager who's very eager and wants to continue to work with everybody. I have staff and a council that's very excited to work with us. We're both teams, Coolidge and Eloy. And so I would encourage you to, if you have annexed south of the canal, to de-annex that. I would ask that you guys continue to stay above, north of the canal, allow us to continue south of it, and I would encourage you to communicate with us. That's one thing that we seem to be missing, is the communication from staff to our staff. And so I would ask that we open that line of communication internally with staff and staff. So I appreciate the time. You guys have any questions for me? It's different on this side. I'm used to up there, so.
Are there any questions for the mayor? Okay,
Mr. Mayor, if I might just mention, can I make a comment real quick?
go ahead.
Mayor Powell, one of the things you mentioned, de-annex, the property that you're concerned about lying south of the canal
Yes, sir.
is not in the city of Coolidge, nor in the city of Eloy. It's in the county, correct? So there's not a de-annexation that we're talking about here. It's a little square area just below the crosshatched planning area boundary, the area that's in purple. That property owner owns a large property holding to the north of the canal. I don't know what the desire is in the future of that property owner, whether they want to be in Coolidge or Eloy. I don't know. You don't know. We
We don't know. We probably won't even be alive to see.
Yeah, I don't know what's going to
anyways.
happen with that, but the general planning area boundary, we do have overlaps in certain areas with, as Gilbert mentioned, with Casa Grande, with Eloy, with Florence. And so not uncommon for those boundaries to overlap. It has happened. I know there are a lot of people that'd rather it not happen. Some of them we can have a conversation at when we eventually get to the final decision on this, whether we where or not. But if it's excluded from our general planning area boundary and that property owner wants to annex the city of Coolidge, if they want it, it's up, annexation really depends on the property owner and where they want to go, right? If they want to be annexed in the city of Coolidge, we'd have to amend our general plan to include that area and make sure that the land use designation is appropriate for the type of land use that they want to put on that property, which I suspect would be industrial because of what's going on in that area. But I just want to make sure that everybody knows that it's not annexed. There's not a de-annexation question here. It's just you're looking at having us remove that square from our general planning area boundary that's being discussed right now, right?
Thank you for that. It's actually everything south of the canal, and you're right. There's some places that do overlap. And you're right, the landowner may say, I want to do this later on, but there's also the line of communication too. And that seems to have failed several times in the past. But I don't want to stress about the past. I want to worry about moving forward and working together with the city of Coolidge. So respectfully, I would ask that if any plans are to go south of the canal, which goes a fair length, number one, communicate, and then two, if to not go south. We get it. Things change over the times of the years. I 100% get it. And there may be time where we disagree with you guys. Oh, absolutely, go for it. But as of right now, we just need to communicate with each other. There needs to be a better line of communication and direction on both parties with the city of Eloy and the city of Coolidge. So, like I said, Mayor, Vice Mayor, council staff, I would respectfully ask that you change the general plan to anything going south of the canal in that area. So, thank you for your time. Happy Thanksgiving, you guys. Have a great one. Be safe.
Thank you, Mayor. Okay. Is there anybody else that wants to speak regarding this public hearing? Okay. Then we'll move out of this one and move into number 7. To receive public comments on proposed major general plan amendments, changing existing rural ranchette to urban neighborhood on approximately 31 acres located southwest of intersection of Randolph Road and Sierra Drive, APN 401-25003. Bob. This is a public hearing. Mr. Lopez, you're up.
Mayor Thompson, Vice Mayor Henry, council members, we call this the Reber 31 annexation, general plan amendment, but it's just changing some areas here. If you notice, we have a lot of urban neighborhood all around here, but what the applicant's trying to do is this what it was before, rural ranchette, and they want to convert it to urban neighborhood in this area here. And this is our general plans already over this property, so they're just trying to change it to be allowed to do some different things under urban neighborhood, which has a wide variety of uses. It's probably our most prevalent zoning designation for the general plan that allows a lot of different things. It's a general plan designation, of course. So I'll answer any questions you may have if you like. And just so you know, in this area, I believe it's Twilight Trails is right there. And this is Randolph Road. Over here is Highway 87. There's some open space on the bottom. But a lot of the properties around, I don't feel if you have the other that show all the PADs. So this is the property here. And then if you notice, there are PADs all around this that are already approved. Verona's here they haven't done anything, but we have Sunshine Farms to the south. But all these color areas here of different shades of purple and all that are existing planned area developments that exist. So the property we're talking about is right there. So I'll answer any questions you may have.
Gilbert, what's the, is that Twilight Trails, the one that's all blocked off already?
Right there.
Yeah,
Yeah, where all the smaller
Okay.
units are. Yeah.
and those custom homes around the,
Here on this side,
Okay.
there's some custom homes here. There's some, most of the bigger custom homes are right here on this side, on the west of the property.
okay. I think Ben's still here, but didn't we just took part of that road from the county, didn't we? Ben? Then we paved it or something and then I figured we better own it if we're gonna pave it. Wasn't it Randolph? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so we took a piece of that road, so we have the right of way of the road. But
Okay.
it's been fully paved.
All right.
About quarter mile that we took.
Cool. All right. Does anybody up here have any questions?
Mayor, I had one question. Gilbert, can you talk a little bit about the infrastructure improvement? I know there was discussion at the planning and zoning meeting about sewer connection.
We can, it's not part of this, but
Okay.
I can just touch on it real quick. If the property is developed, or any property that's larger, they have two options really. Either they can do an on-site package plant for sewer, or what they propose to do, if everything goes forward, is connect the sewer to the city. So they would put in a large sewer line all the way up, and there's, as you notice, all these PADs, it would give the opportunity for those developers to group together and do economies of scale to put those lines in. And potentially, they'll come up to, I think it's Kenworthy, the lift station is pretty deep there, right by, right? Ben, there's that lift station on Kenworthy that's there, right by our facility, and that's where they would all go. You would see probably a combination of this development, Hawk Hollow, probably Landmark 2, 3, and 4, and Landmark 9 and 10, all going together for the sewer plant, I think for the sewer line, to be able to get to our sewer plant. So anyway, that's the information. Hopefully that answers the question.
Thank you.
Okay, Norm, is this one we've got? Okay.
Okay. Our first speaker is Sonia, and I hope I don't mess up your name. Is it Schoonover?
Hello, Mayor Thompson and Vice Mayor and Council. I live at 4250 North Loring Road, so I am one of these custom little homes to the west of this property. And, right. So, is it working? This button, okay. All right, so I live about right here. And I have an acre and a quarter little ranchette there. And if they put in high-density housing all here, this is going to greatly reduce my property's value and change the whole sense of our neighborhood. We all have ranchettes there. We all have livestock and animals, and it's open and has a great feel. And we all have custom homes there that we've invested quite a lot in. And, you know, this is even more dense than Twilight Trails over here. You know, it's not even, you know, similar to this neighborhood at all. It's just going to plunk a huge, highly dense, like apartment complex right there, right next to my property. And it's just going to really hurt my value. So I'm definitely against what they're proposing. That's my thoughts. So whoever's next.
Thank you.
Okay, Mayor, our next speaker is Jeff Bogner.
Hello, thanks, ladies and gentlemen, for giving us the time to speak here. I guess I have one problem with what was presented. They said that this is all urban housing around here, but I don't know exactly what urban housing means, but what's being proposed is multifamily housing, which is to me an entirely different thing, which sounds like apartments, condominiums, that type of thing going over there. As Sonia said, you know, there's a certain code, I guess, that comes with little country living of you know, the kind of a Western culture. If you have livestock and you have property and you improve that property, and when you have multifamily housing, when you have rentals and stuff, that's just a completely different culture of folks that are coming in there that are accustomed to more city lifestyle. Either us or them to have that clash of conflict, that clash of cultures that goes along with that. I guess the second thing I'd say is traffic wise, there's not the infrastructure here to support the level of what is being proposed for housing density in that area. Loring Road is a 1-lane road. And the only access is Randolph, which is a 2-lane road. You have 11 Mile Corner in Randolph, 11 Mile Corner 87. Those are kind of dangerous intersections. There's been a lot of deaths there and stuff over the years. So that's another concern I would have. When you bring in high density housing, rentals, stuff like that, crime inevitably goes up, especially property crime, theft. You know, we all have a lot of investments in our property, machinery, livestock type of things, and so about the folks that are moving in not respecting that property and that what we put into our property and stuff. I live at 4576 North Loring Road, which is just Sonia. So we're super close with one another as far as neighborhood goes. I guess the last thing I would bring up is also property values, that this type of proposed housing that's going in there is only going to hurt property values for everybody. And so that's another pretty serious concern. I just purchased this property in March with the hopes of living in a more rural, kind of with getting out of the city type life and stuff like that, as I have for a lot of the rest of my life. And I've got a lot of family in the area. This is where I've settled and want to spend the rest of my days, I guess. And so this kind of really chaps of having this proposed. I do up front, there's going to be rural ranchette property. There's going to be houses over there at some point. I accept that. That was never a question. But the high density housing that's proposed is not what was ever expected when I purchased this property. And it seems very strange to propose this location for high density housing as opposed to something in more urban in the city of Coolidge, something like that. Thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, our third speaker, Mayor, again, I hope I don't butcher this name. Greg, is it Molmedo? Molmedo?
Thank you, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Chairman, or council members. I'm Greg Momodal, live in the Coolidge area, but do have an investment property over in this question. I also was not quite aware that it was a dense type housing that they were proposing. That is a concern, being the fact that we do have an equestrian property over there that would like to preserve the property value. The other concern I have, Councilman Daniels mentioned about the sewer, what the city's going to do with that. That's quite a different distance from the city proper. Whether they would require the developer to bring that out there, I believe they should if they're proposing something this large. Other concern I really have, respectfully, I feel looking at the city, there is a lot left to be desired when it comes to the city's code enforcement and managing that. And what I wouldn't want to see is when you have a situation, I don't know who has jurisdiction over Twilight Trails, but where you have another situation like that right on the edge of it and the city isn't managing it. And you end up with low property values, you end up with something that's a detriment to that area. And that's, quite frankly, when I look at this city, I see a lot of that. Some of the HOAs that you stepped up the game in handing that off to HOAs, but in the cities that don't, parts of the city that don't have that, there's a lot left to be desired and how the city manages that with code enforcement. So that would be my big concern, whether the city's gonna do something to make sure that maintains a good presence and a good perspective for the community. That's the only question I have.
Excuse me, where are you in proximity to this proposed project? Or the property that you own?
Here's your mic here.
Yeah. Approximately, right,
You can just point to it.
yeah, right in there. The property, yeah.
Oh,
So right
okay.
about, roughly in there.
Okay.
Thank you for your time.
Well, thank you, sir.
Mayor, our next speaker is Mr. Grady Watley, Senior.
I wanted to address the council and the committees and all of you. My sister, she owns property out there where the Sunland Gin, your South Side Gin, she's just north of that. And so she wasn't able to come here because about a month ago, I paralyzed her husband, and so she wasn't able to drive at night. But she wanted me to come, and I wanted to come concerning Martin Road. Martin Road don't have a speed limit sign where you're coming east of the Scowden Road at the light, and and they don't have a speed limit sign. And it's just terrible. Most of us that live out there is older people, and some ain't older, they're old people, and I'm one of them. And so sometime coming out of my driveway, I have a hard time getting on the Martin Road coming most of the Coolidge. Because if they're not coming one way, they're coming the other. And when you get up to Highway 87, there's 4 or 5 cars ahead of you waiting to get on 87 because traffic is so bad coming each way. And so I'm just requesting to remind you that the Highway 87 and Martin Road meets there south of the Galloping Goose. I know most of the people know what a galloping goose is. The goose don't gallop no more, but it's still there. I wish, and I'm requesting, that you take notice, try to get a signal light right there so people won't get killed. I know a couple of weeks ago they had a bad accident there. But all this could be, not all of it, but most of it could be avoided if we had a traffic light.
Thank you, Grady.
Mayor, our next speaker is Zachary Harris.
Good evening, Mayor
Good evening.
and everyone. So I'd like to point out I'd like to point out a little bit of confusion that it seems. It's like we're all talking about a high-density living development that's going on, but I don't see that listed on tonight's thing. The sheet that was sent out that we all received in the mail actually has 2 dockets listed for tonight. One of them is for rezoning to multifamily. So it's not just the rural ranchette to urban neighborhood, it's also talking about multifamily. I live on this property right here. All of these properties here are 1.25 acres up to like 5+ acres. Now, what happened with the last meeting, what we found out is this 31-acre parcel that's in question, the plan for it is to have over 400 townhomes on it, all for rentals, right? So now we're talking about, that's 15 properties per acre. We're going from 1+ acre per house to 15 properties on an acre. Also, if I believe it was only one entrance and exit, correct? So one entrance, one exit, right here, that's supposed to facilitate 400 units that are all going to be 1- and 2-story, up to 3-bedroom. So you're talking an average of 2 people per house. Now, they did make it very clear that this is well within code because for it to be a townhome, it has to have a 400 square foot yard. So happy to tell y'all, they'll have 20 foot by 20 foot yards that will definitely not match up with acre yards. To facilitate an additional 800 on average people, so you're gonna average about 2 people per house, in an area where right here, you have less than 15 people living there. To add an additional 800 people is absurd. And what's going to happen with our road throughout the whole time that this thing's being developed? Years. It took 5 months for them to just fix that road. To develop one road took 5 months. We're going to have our road torn up and listen to construction for years. What happens with our property value? Our property value, this house that we bought, once this is up, isn't even gonna be worth what we paid for it, and I'm gonna lose money to go try to buy somewhere else where I want to live, away from people. Does anyone have any questions?
No? Do you have any more?
No,
Or do you have
that's
any?
it.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Okay, Mayor, our next speaker is Douglas Reber.
Good evening. My name is Douglas Reber. I'm the owner of the subject property that's got the land use designation proposed change. And as a note, the proposed change has been supported by the Board of Commissioners on the Planning and Zoning Committee. I'd like to point out, if I could, that in this area right here, there are over between 350, I don't remember the exact count, but 350 and 375 landowners, and they've all been notified of this change. They're all county, and that's all well and good. And the density in Twilight Trails, as we all know, is quite dense. But we've had, I think, four people, and I respect their opinions. Or was it four or three that are in the immediate area that have raised an opposition on it. Zach, I tried to look you up to maybe meet you this weekend, but when I looked up property owners, I didn't see your name as a property owner here. Okay, all right, very good. And then, so two of the three here have bought in the last 2 years, right? That's fair to say. And I bought this property some time ago as an investment property. And so in terms of percentage of opposition, and the whole area has been notified, it's less than 1% in opposition, and they don't want to be part of it. My understanding is you don't want to be annexed into the city as well, right? Is that fair to say?
We don't want a development less than 50.
No, I understand that.
Opposition doesn't mean 99%.
Well, I'm not trying to, I'm just making some
Hey,
points.
hey, hold on.
Yeah.
This is a public meeting, one person speaks at a time.
Yeah. So anyway, my point is I would like to be part of the city, and I'm also, you know, a voice for others that would like to be part of the city that would live in this community. Now, I'm not looking at, when I'm looking at this as a possible thing that I like to do, I'm not looking at Coolidge the way it's been for the last, you know, many years. All your not all of them, but many of your jobs are concentrated south of here all the way to Hauser Road and the inland port. We have pads, whether you like it or not, that are going to affect your neighborhood all around. And there's high density in some of these pads that have already been approved by council. Just a couple of points that you may not be aware of, but somebody said there was only one exit. That's not accurate. There are 3 exits. The main entrance is right here. There is no entrance or exits onto Loring Road. The other 2 exits are on Sierra Lane or Sierra Trail, whatever this street is called. We don't exit onto Loring Road. And then this is a fully gated community. It's a townhome type community. Every home planned, and that's not the nature of tonight, but it has its own garage, you know, parking for 2 cars at the home, and then it's got like way extra space in terms of open space and in terms of parking that's required for any of it. Infrastructure improvements off-site, the sewer. We're going to put, they're talking about Arizona Water putting a very large, they already own this property here, well, to service this whole area, which will give you water, extra water. I don't know how your water issues are right now. But as well as in terms of transitions that somebody mentioned. It's all gated, a block wall, a 6-foot block wall, and on the parameter of the block wall, it'll be landscaped as well. So no entrance on the Loring Road on the west side. Main entrance right here. Obviously, we have some road improvements that the developer will have to participate in on both Randolph and also Sierra Trail. But, so anyway, I'd just like to bring up those points. I don't know if, I'm happy to answer any questions if anyone has.
Well, I do have one question, Douglas.
Yes.
If the city doesn't approve this, will you take this project to the county and present the same thing?
Well, actually, we had this all ready to go with the county. The county gave on this, but because of the sewer situation and because we were doing other things in the area non-related to this property, I thought it might be advantageous to Coolidge if in fact we were to help them with their infrastructure, bringing, this adds 3.5 miles to the Coolidge city infrastructure on their sewage plant. And where it connects in to their main one, that it's all gravity fed. The natural flow of land is from this property. So it was a plus plus. And so, but if not, I'd just go back to the county and you would get it with less, at least here, there's, somebody mentioned what type of, HOAs and things like that. This will be a high dollar rental community. So,
Hold on. He'll be done in a minute and then you can come up. So that was
Yeah.
my, okay.
so both county had approved it, and we worked with the county planners in designing this in the first place. But although that's not the nature of tonight's purpose, it's just land use. So, but the point is, you've got pads all around. This area is going to grow. I live in Gilbert on, that area is, just really grown, and we've got acreage properties there next to, we're compatible. So my desire would be to be a good neighbor. So, fair enough.
Anybody have any? Okay, thank you, Doug.
You bet.
Please state your name.
So Aspen Harris, again, husband, live in the neighborhood right across. So just for a point, do you own other land that you do rentals on? Are you familiar with the process?
Time to address the council with your concerns, not a
Okay.
time to have a question and answer with the audience.
Okay, fair point. So I worked in property management for almost a decade. I'm extremely familiar with how people treat their rental property. It's not just their units, it is the land around it. They don't respect boundaries because they don't care because they don't own. He's talking about putting a high density less than 15 feet away from our front door. The purpose and the reason that we bought properties out here was to move away from that. And another point that we've made is if you're wanting to add high density living, why not be closer to the city where it's more convenient and it's going to actually help the city? Yes, I get you're close to work, but what's the drive from the city of Coolidge to Singer? 10 minutes? Most people commute 45 minutes to an hour. If they live in Casa Grande, driving up to Chandler or driving down to Tucson, it's even longer. So I just think the point being that what we're trying to make here is we purchased out here to move away from high density living. If we want to do that, we would have moved into the city, but we didn't. So that's our concern. And yes, maybe he did get it approved with the county, and if that's the case, then we'll fight him at the county. But ultimately, we're here to appeal to you guys so that you can understand our frustrations. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor. I think it's important for everybody to understand the process. This is a request to amend the general plan through a major general plan amendment process. The request that you're reviewing tonight was approved by the Planning and Zoning Commission to change the land use designation from rural ranchette to urban neighborhood. Urban neighborhood by itself doesn't just automatically allow multifamily to go in on this property. Urban neighborhood allows a variety of residential densities, all the way from the 1-acre lots up to the higher density multifamily developments. So the action tonight that the commission approved was to change the land use designation to urban neighborhood, which is the predominant land use category. It's not out of character for the area. This applicant, the next step, in fact, there was a hearing advertised earlier. I'm going to make this clarification. The gentleman mentioned it. We did advertise a hearing on an appeal. The Planning and Zoning Commission did recommend denial of the rezoning of this property. That's not on the agenda tonight. That was put on the agenda tonight as a public hearing to consider an appeal. The mayor and council can't do that until this property is annexed into the city. The city has no jurisdiction over rezoning property that's not in the city limits. So that's very important to know. Tonight, land use discussion only. I understand the concerns that are being addressed tonight, but this land use designation can allow anything from 1 acre, 5-acre lots, all the way up to multifamily. But the decision tonight is to not make a decision on multifamily. You're making a decision on a generalized land use classification that would allow for a variety of residential land use categories. Hopefully that makes sense.
So this could, actually end up to be horse properties too.
It could be with this land use designation. If somebody wanted to come in and divide that up into large lots, it could happen that way. We know that this applicant, who we've been working with at length, because he came in and said, hey, he'd like to have the sewer extended. Otherwise, he'd go to the county. We felt that the sewer extension to serve this region would not be a bad idea. We've been working with this applicant on his requests. There's going to be a few more steps. If the mayor and council approves this evening, probably the very next thing that the applicant's going to ask for is a pre-annexation. That pre-annexation development agreement is going to be, he's going to ask for certain conditions, one being multifamily in that pre-annexation development agreement. Otherwise, if you don't approve that, he's not going to annex the property into the city. He'd go to the county, and everything stops here, and the county decides.
At this point, though, this is still just a public hearing.
It's a public hearing.
We're not voting on anything
No,
tonight.
not voting on anything tonight. It's just a public hearing, and there's been some good comments made this evening.
Right.
Both sides.
When do you anticipate this coming to council?
Well, I believe that what we're going to be looking at, subject to the approval, well, this goes to the council in 2 weeks for a final decision on this,
The 27th.
on the 27th of November. If you approve the general plan, major amendment that's being requested, the next step would be to entertain a pre-annexation development agreement by this applicant. And that probably wouldn't happen until, my guess is going to be the first meeting in January, because we'd have to advertise and do a bunch of other things. So first meeting in, December. No,
We put it tentatively on for December 11th.
First
We can
first
push it
meeting in
back
December.
if
I'm
we
getting
need
ahead
to,
of, this year's going too fast for me. That's all I can tell you. First meeting in December, probably for a pre-annexation development agreement. That same evening, you could act on the appeal that they're going to ask you to act on by the planning commissions on their denial of the rezoning. And so a lot will happen in December on this property. Does that make sense? It's a little confusing dealing with these land use issues like this. This is complex because you have general plan amendment, pre-annexation development agreements, annexation, rezoning. Everything is involved on this property.
Okay, all right, we're still in a public hearing. Is there anybody else that has any comments regarding this item number 7? Sure.
Just want to point out that the notice that was sent to us in the mail that says what's being discussed tonight is multifamily housing. It says it right on here. So I don't know.
There's the guy you got to talk to.
Yeah, I explained that earlier in my conversation.
Go ahead.
advertised a public hearing tonight on the appeal. We took that off the agenda, even though you got that notice. It's not on the agenda tonight to consider the appeal. The mayor and council cannot consider the appeal on the zoning decision unless this property is annexed into,
Okay,
okay?
okay, I understand.
Yeah, it was kind of a mystery to me too. So, but now we all know. So all this was an information and fact finding. Yeah, okay, all right. Anything else, Gilbert?
Now, the only thing I would mention, any of these properties, if you rezone, they still have to go through a site plan else where citizens get a right to critique, the design and all that. So I just wanted to add that thing.
Okay. All right. Anybody have anything else regarding item 7? Okay. Then we will get out of that one. And we'll move into business items for consent. Item 8. Consider approval of entering into a professional services agreement between the City of Coolidge and Teisler Bice, Inc. for the purpose of performing an updated development fee study waiving the sealed bid requirements in the best interest of the city. Who's got that? Oh, you
This
do?
is items for consent, but I do want to pull that one.
All right, here we go.
Yeah, I'll pull that one.
All right, then I guess I should have asked anyway. Is there anybody that wants to pull any of these?
Mayor Thompson, I'd like to pull 14.
14, oh, okay, hold on, another page, 14's out, okay. Any of the other ones? Okay, so
Yeah, number 8.
8 and 14, all right, so then we'll go ahead and move to 9. Number 9, consider approval of entering into a revised intergovernmental agreement between the Arizona Department of Revenue and the City of Coolidge related to uniform administration of the city's transaction privilege tax. Item 10, consider approval of entering into a memorandum of understanding between the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives and the Coolidge Police Department for the use of E-Trace system. Item 11, consider approval of entering into a contract and addendum with Alicia Geosystems, Inc. to purchase Map 360 drone software in the amount of $532.05 for 1 year. Item 12, consider approval of entering into a cooperative purchasing agreement with Smithco Enterprises for asphalt and concrete crushing services to generate usable material for road repairs throughout the city, authorizing the mayor to sign the necessary documents. Item 13, consider approval of entering into a professional services agreement between the City of Coolidge and Kimberly Horn for the purpose of providing airport engineering design and construction management services for the Coolidge Municipal Airport. Okay. All right.
Mayor Thompson, I move to approve consent agenda items 9 through 13.
Second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, that carries. We'll move back to item 8. Consider approval of entering into a professional services agreement between the City of Coolidge and Tischler Inc. for the purpose of performing an updated development fee study, waiving the sealed bid requirements in the best interest of the city. Councilmember Daniels?
Yeah, I don't know who's taking this one.
I'd like
Rick?
to.
Okay. Can you just elaborate a little bit more on kind of the process and how often we do kind of a study like this?
Well, thanks for asking that question, Councilmember Daniels. This is a pretty important process that we have to go through on a routine manner. If we're going to collect development impact fees, we typically do these studies every 3 or 4 years. The city, I think in the past, in recent years have said, we need to reevaluate our fees. We need to look at what we're charging the developers for the development impact fees for fire and police. Right now, the way we're charging for fire, parks and recreation, and transportation. That's all and wastewater. Wastewater is another aspect. We've had the council express concerns about, do we need to collect some additional fees for police in the future? There are certain things we can't collect impact fees anymore on, like general government. The state said you can't do that anymore. So to answer your question, every 3 or 4 years, generally, we're in that process right now. It's probably been at least 3 or 4 years since the last time. How long is, Gabe? Yeah. So, Tischler Bice has done all of our other previous fee studies. They're very experienced. I don't believe they've had any challenges to their impact fee ordinances that they've, or their impact fee studies that they've done. The idea behind the impact fees for the benefit of the public is that we would hope that growth pays for itself. Give you an example. If you have a property owner in here that has paid for our wastewater treatment plant, that property owner doesn't want to continue to pay for the expansion of the plant over again. The idea is as people move into the community and buy into houses, as they're buying those houses, they're paying these development impact fees in the permit process. And so it helps to offset the cost of expanding existing infrastructure. You can't use it to buy police cars. You can't use it to pay for personnel. You can't use it to repair and maintain your infrastructure. It has to support expansion of city services to accommodate the growth that's going on in the area. Does that answer your question?
Yep. I just specifically wanted to highlight this item because I think it's really important as the year, well, when I got on council, I know there was a lot of discussion when I first got on council about measuring our different impact fees and making sure we earn on those. So I think it's a good item to have.
And I think in the past, there was a period of time where we had no growth. There was really nothing happening. And I know the mayor and council in previous studies looked at ways that we might incentivize some development to happen by, I think they approved fees that were lower than what was actually recommended. So we could stimulate some growth and activity in the area. We've seen tremendous growth in recent years, and you may or may not wish to, in the future, do that again. You have to kind of evaluate the market and what's going on with the area. But I think it's an important fee structure. We're talking about a regional park, for example. A regional park is going to be very expensive. We've been collecting impact fees that can be used to help pay for some of the park improvements that we're talking about making in this roadways. The roadways down by the inland port that we're going to be developing to support the growth in the inland port. We can use our transportation impact fees to help pave some of those roads. Fire station, another example.
You can
Future
use
fire
it.
station.
If you add police back in, you can build a public safety building with police and fire.
Correct.
Just one more question, sorry. Rick, do you know, is this consultant firm based in Arizona?
They do impact fees all over the country. They're not based in. They do a number of cities throughout Arizona, all over the country. Carson Bice is who we've been working with. He'll work with us if you approve this. He'll continue to work with us on what he does. The first step is to do a land use assumptions report. He'll look at growth projections. He'll look at, historic growth patterns. He'll look at trying to estimate what our future growth will be over the next, short planning horizon. The important thing to remember with impact fees, when you start collecting them, you must put them in the account that they're collected for, and you must expend those fees on the things that you collect them for. You can't just purchase something else or do something else. Within a certain time period, I think 10 years. If you don't, within 10 years, use those impact fees for what you said you're going to collect them for, you have to reimburse those impact fees back to the individuals that paid them. So it's important.
That's all I had, Mayor.
And this company, excuse me, Mayor.
Go ahead.
This company has been doing this for us for quite some time.
Correct. I don't know of anybody else that's done it. Gabe, do you?
Yeah, because I can remember they've done it for us for
They've
a
done it
long
for a
time.
long time, and you know, the thing, I think the important thing here is that they're pretty conservative on how they arrive at these fees. If you're gonna be challenged on anything by a developer or home builders, or these groups, they'll challenge your impact fees to make sure that you're applying them properly, that you're not overcharging. And the state has done several changes to the impact fees over the years, where they've actually taken away certain things that cities have been collecting impact fees for, just out of some of the challenges that have happened.
Well, I know when we went with it the first time, I think we've always used these guys, and all the other things were, if you read your backup material, it was all in what was in there and the timelines and everything. But bottom line is, I don't think these guys. I don't know. They may have been challenged and lost, but I've never heard of them losing and being challenged. I'm not with us for sure. They've always done a good job for us.
No, Mr. Mayor, I think that's a great point you brought up.
Yeah.
They have been challenged at least once in Arizona in court, and they were successful defending their.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons that you want somebody like that, because you don't want to spend a lot of money and then to top it off lose. So. Come up a minute, Gabe, because I know some of these young guys can hear better than I can, but
Mayor, members of the council, it's actually Fitzgibbon's Law Office helps us out a lot. If there's a question with some of our impact fees, we usually reach out to them. And so it's a combination between our attorneys, Tischler Bice, to get clarifications. And usually we get legal opinions, and that's what we use to support it. We have to do a impact fee report that's due every year that outlines the uses and the collections that we have throughout any year. And so any questions that we get on any of that stuff, it's a collaborative issue between our attorneys and Tischler, so. But we've had usually a pretty good run at it so far, so.
yeah, no, if I was going to hire one and pay for it myself, this is the one I'd hire.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. So is anybody, are you satisfied, Councilmember Daniels?
I am.
Anybody else have any questions? No? All right then. I guess we need a motion to act on this.
If there's no further discussion, I move to approve item number 8 as read.
Second.
Motion is second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That carries. Thank you. We'll move over to 14. Consider approval of accepting the right-of-way dedication pursuant to the dedication agreement and warranty deed of dedication of the right-of-way for Martin Road and Skousen Road from Langley Kenworth Estates LLC, an Arizona limited liability company, authorizing the mayor to execute the necessary documents.
Mayor Thompson and council, I did go ahead and ask for this to be pulled because kind of an occupational hazard. I looked at the conveying documents and I wasn't really comfortable with them, so I got a hold of Mr. Lopez and Mr. Garthright, and we went over it, and then I guess they've done some further investigation into it, so I don't know. Gilbert, you want to go ahead and take it from there?
Yes, Councilor Bagnell, thank you very much for pointing that out, because actually, with Langley Kenworthy Estates, they had, Councilor Bagnell found that there were some easements here instead of fee simple right-of-way. So if we would have added, 2 feet here, 5 feet here, however that was written, it would have left part of it as an easement and part of it as right-of-way. So solution is actually to actually create a 55-foot easement and rededicate that on both sides, which Jen Ruby helped us with Langley Kenworthy Estates LLC. So we have that done. I showed it to Councilmember Bagnell, and it's all stamped, certified, so that'll work perfectly fine and match up. And it's on the northern part of this large area here and down this side. And it'll match up with Hawk Hollow once that takes off, and we'll work with them to match up the right-of-way. It'll be 55 feet.
The PAD at that time will then go ahead and dedicate the right-of-way that will basically even out the roadways with what is being dedicated by this particular document.
Correct.
Right, okay.
Yes. And thank you. And Jen is here if you have any questions for her. She's done a great job to help us out. And she wants to make a quick comment.
Mayor Thompson, council members, it's nice to see y'all again. For the record, Jennifer Ruby with properties. Our address is 8 East Guadalupe Road, Gilbert, Arizona, 85234. I just want to really thank staff. This has been a little bit of a challenging process getting through with the appropriate documentation. They've been fantastic with our engineers. We really appreciate that. And Councilman Bagnell, that was a great catch. I've been in the exact
Thank you.
same position, and I would not have wanted to recreate. So we appreciate that.
Thank you.
This is, you guys will all remember the Sun Communities project that wraps around this. So this is in order to facilitate that lot split and make sure that the city has the full right-of-way dedications on those adjacent roads. Just in case anyone's curious, because you might ask, we expect that deal to close in January. So we're very close on that one as well. If you have any questions, I'm here.
So did they, was it already surveyed, or, I mean, they just had to rewrite the legal?
Yes, exactly. So the legals originally, like Gilbert said, the legals were just additional 2 and 5 feet to get to the ultimate right-of-way. So they just rewrote the legals to be the full 55-foot right-of-way on our side of the road.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, and that was it?
Good. I'll go ahead and move to approve item 14 of the consent agenda.
Second.
Okay. Motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All right, motion carries. Thank you. Moving to business under regular items. Before I read this, Mr. Miller? Okay, all right, that's what I was wondering. We don't need an excuse to explain anything, we just need to, you want it to be.
Questions that we had on this particular item with the applicant proposing to donate the fire station site. A lot of questions about a San Carlos Canal easement. Too many questions. Gut was telling me this isn't the time to be taking an action on this yet. We might even be looking at another property. We just don't know. So we're going to hold off on this.
Okay. I don't see anybody here that is here for that particular item. You guys here for item 15? Don't be looking away. I know. We're not going to ask you to get up here and talk. You're not here for item 15. Okay, thank you, sir. All right, in that case, I need a motion to table item 15. All right, second?
Second.
All right, motion second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, that one's tabled.
Thank you.
All right, I'll start down here with Councilmember Bagnell. Report from Mayor and Council, City Manager. Go ahead, Councilmember.
Okay, first off, wanted to go ahead and just let everybody know that I did attend the Board of Supervisors study session on last Thursday, as well as City Manager Miller and a few other people, and they were at that meeting. They addressed the, basically solar's future here in Pinal County, and it was a very rosy picture that they had painted, and it was a very one-sided presentation, in my opinion. And to go along with that, this coming Wednesday at 9:30 a.m., the Board of Supervisors is having their regular meeting, and they have an agenda item on there, again, to approve around I think it's about 1,000-acre site that's in the Coolidge planning area down on, is it Early? It's HACLO is the name of the project, and it's for people that have been around here a long time, it's the old cockerel farm. And so, as in the past, it was voted it was voted against by the Planning and Zoning Commission, and it seems like whenever they vote against it, the Board of Supervisors votes for it. So if there's any folks out there that share the concerns regarding the amount of solar that has come into this area, we need to make sure that you get there and try to voice your opinion. I'm going to try to get there myself as well, and I believe the city's already sent several letters to let the Board of Supervisors know that that's in our planning area and that we are against it, and that the community has spoken very loudly. So I just wanted to be sure to point that out. The only other thing that I wanted to touch base on is I received the email today from Mr. Garcia regarding the budgeting coming up. And one of the things that he also addressed in there was back in June when I had requested that we would start looking at a STEP program for salaries. And at that point in time, I think Mr. Garcia, I was under the impression that he would be taking the lead on that. And then that we would be seeing something in September. When it didn't materialize and I questioned it, then he sent me an email and said that that is an HR function. So I'd like to know who is in charge of that and when can we see something? Because now we're going to be going into November, December, and we still haven't seen anything.
Well, we're in a budget year. You adopted a budget this year. The mayor and council did. That budget did not include a step plan. It included, the pay raises that were pretty generous,
Right.
this year. I know that you had brought it up. You'd like to talk about a step program. I think my job as a city manager is to advise the mayor and council on board that kind of a step plan in addition to what we've been doing. But that conversation will take place during this next budget cycle, whether you want to implement a step plan or not. Right now, you wouldn't be able to do it at all.
Well, and I understand that. It's just I was trying to get ahead of the game, and that's why I thought we'd be looking at it in September rather than, coming up right on budget discussion start.
I think we should see it ahead.
We've got a little bit of time between now and budget. I mean, we've been working on many, many other things, obviously. And so we can do it whenever you want to have if you want a study session to talk about it, we can absolutely do it. Wants a study session now, but ahead of the budget, I think the email that Gabe responded to you today and to the council members was, we can start our budget discussions in December, which is earlier than what we have in the past. If you'd like to do that, we can do that. I can tell you one thing, though. This is coming from Rick Miller. Your city manager, you can't afford both. You can't do a step increase, and you can't do a pay raise. You have to do one or the other. And actually, the city employees have done better in recent years with the way we've been doing it versus a step program. The STEP program will get you locked in to something you may not be able to afford from year to year. And that's just my 2 cents about it. I was involved with the STEP program in Casa Grande. It was going great until the money ran out. And they had to do away with it for like 10 years, so.
Yeah, we're far afield.
Yeah, so.
I think the question is from Councilman Bagnall, would you like to see it on a meeting sometime? Just to talk more about the STEP program, maybe not the specifics, but how it works and the cost to the city?
Yes, like I said, I was hoping that we could start looking at that in September and, just start going out and laying it out and let's take a look at it. And that's why I'm, somewhat impatient about it now, is because now, like I said, we're into November, beginning December, and we've still seen nothing. So that's why I'm requesting something be done. Let's do something.
I think the issue now, just because it's not on the agenda for tonight, is to find out, do we have sufficient council people we can find out after the meeting that want to have this discussion, and we can get it on for next agenda, or the mayor can put it on, or the city manager can put it on. So I think we can go from there.
Okay, it's just, there wasn't any real objection to it when I brought it up in June. So that's why
The vice mayor already agreed with you through, she wants to hear it too, it sounds like. I think I just need one more, and then we got three, then we have, I think based on the code, we put it on.
I don't know, did you get it? Did you get that other person?
I don't know, I was
Well,
looking, you usually started shaking your head yes. every time you
Well,
wanted it.
I'll touch base when it comes to my turn.
I'm not opposed to hearing options, so if that's what Bagnall would like. I'm not opposed to hearing it.
Okay, I think we'll, from staff point of view, we can figure out when we get it on. We have one meeting left in November and one meeting in December, so I'm sure there's gonna be
study part on our side to make sure we can present something that's meaningful.
That'll be fine, thank you.
I have nothing.
Just want to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Black Friday too. That's it. I don't have anything else.
Go ahead,
Me?
Vice Mayor.
A couple of things. I want to thank the wastewater treatment plant for their presentation and thank all the ones that do all the nasty job out there. I wouldn't want to have it. I know that I attended the parade and the mayor was there, but he was riding in the Nikola truck. And so I was going to ride on the fire truck, but nobody else showed up. I wasn't going to ride on the top by myself. And all the firemen's family was inside the truck, so I chose to ride with Officer Childers. Anyway, I thought it was a good parade. I think next year will probably be even better as far as the Veterans Day Parade. I do want to thank all the citizens that did come out for that. It meant a lot to our veterans. After that, they all joined down at the Artisan Village, and the Coolidge Cotton Patchers, I think, gave about 13 to 14 quilts of valors out to the veterans. And then they had like food for them down there. But anyway, that was very, very nice. So I want to echo Councilmember Bagnall. I remember that in June when they talked about the step increase, but I want to go back just a little bit. I think a couple of years ago we started talking about the step increase. Whether we can or can't afford it, it will be nice for us to see it. And that's all I think that we ask. And there was no objection up here at that time. And so that's all I want to say about that. Anyway, everyone have a great Thanksgiving.
Mr. Miller?
No, I really don't have anything. I think you have your weekly memo that gets passed outlining the things that are coming up. I don't have anything else to report.
Did you get them passed out or no?
No, this is just a weekly memo that Sienna puts out.
Yeah.
Your, on this day, I usually will give you your city manager's monthly report for October. That's 95% complete. We had a lot of things on the agenda today. Should have it in your inboxes tomorrow.
Okay.
The youth council meeting has been canceled.
Well, the youth meeting, the youth council has been canceled.
Yes, it's coming up Wednesday. It's been canceled.
Yep.
Well, it's standard operating procedure, isn't it?
Well, these youth have a lot of, not enough to show up to have a meeting, so a lot of activities at the schools.
Okay. All right, then I don't have anything. I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We're adjourned. Thank you, everybody.